My name is Emil Hermenihorses. I am a member of the Oglala Lakota Nation and from Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and I was raised on the Rosebud Reservation. I currently live in Washington, D.C., and my Lakota name is Ta'obi Chikala, which means little wound. What inspired me to become a Native artist was it goes back to when I was in seventh grade, and I saw some beadwork that I really admired, but I couldn't afford it. So I started to do it myself. Um, and that's what started me on the road. And since then, I've also met several beadwork artists from my community that really kind of showed me the way of doing traditional beadwork from the Lakota. The techniques I use are actually based in our community. We have a certain technique, a style of beadwork that's called geometric, and there's two techniques that we use. One is called an applique stitch, and the other is called referred to as lazy stitch, but there's nothing lazy about the beadwork. Another term I like to use is called lane stitch because the beads are done in rows beads and it covers a big background, a large background, or large area of beadwork. I think what inspires my pieces are actually kind of based. I try to keep it based in work from my reservation, from my nation. I try to carry on the traditions of the geometric designs. Also, one of my great grandmothers, her name was Susie Blunthorn Matthews, and she tended to incorporate horses and horsehead designs in her beadwork. And so I also try to incorporate those in the work I do. I try to pass on the knowledge of our beadwork designs and techniques to. I actually have a nephew and the rest of my family. When they went to have new beadwork done, they contact me and ask me for different designs, color combinations. My nephew is a great beadworker. I have to say that he almost produces more than I do, but he does it for his family and for their beaded regalia. But yeah, they contact me and ask me for different designs and color advice in their work. Well, I have to say that in the last 9 months, sadly, I have not been doing as much beadwork as I always hoped I would do when I'm at home, mainly because I travel to 6 national art shows a year. And the inspiration of other artists preparing for the show has always kind of inspired me to do more pieces. But these last 9 months, I've been a little slow, which I always thought I would be producing more if I was at home. But these art markets have just recently started to doing virtual markets, and so that's got me inspired to start doing and to speed up on my creativity. So the pieces I'd like to share with you today are a pair of shoes that another artist, Jamie Okuma, had started doing decorating Christian Louboutin shoes. And so I asked her if it'd be all right if I tried a few pair. So um, I never thought I'd be paying $1,000 for a pair of women's shoes. But so this is when I was talking about horsehead designs, horse designs. Um, so this is a pair of shoes that I did that are the Christian Louboutin with the red sole, and they are decorated with horse heads. Now these horse heads actually represent what we call the four directions. So the blue represents the west, the red represents the north, The yellow represents the east, and the white represents the south. So it's the four directions, and the blue, the sky, the color of the sky. And so I was inspired to do these, as I was saying, from my great grandmother, Susie Blenhorn Matthews. She incorporated a lot of horsehead designs in her beadwork. So the next piece I have is actually called a horse mask. This horse mask has a buffalo head design on it. And the idea was that a horse would wear this, and it's decorated with floral designs. And the idea is that a horse would wear this, and they would want the power and the strength of the buffalo uh, 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 in, for the horse. If the horse is going into battle or into parading, you would want the strength of the buffalo. So this is actually titled Red Buffalo Horse Mask, and it's decorated with brass sequins, brass bells, and I said floral designs. And it's often referred to as Eastern Sioux floral. I'm also a traditional doll maker, and so these dolls are 10 and a half inches high, and they're a male and female pair, and they're called Buffalo Spirit. And it's actually depicting two they're ceremonial dancers. They're called sun dancers, and the buffalo skulls are the buffalo is very important to our culture. And so at these ceremonies, the buffalo skull represents the spirit of the buffalo and the importance of the buffalo. And so the dancers are dressed as they would have been if they were attending the ceremony. And I don't know if you can see this, but the moccasins are beaded in a size, what they're called size 16, which is really small. And so I build the bodies and then dress them in a very traditional style of dress. So, as an artist, and especially this year, as I stated before, it's very difficult not to be in contact with our other artists that we see see at all the art markets. They support us, they encourage us to continue our work, and we're inspired by their work. So that's been one of the difficulties of this year, is not to be able to be with our other art market contenders and see their creativity that inspires us. So I miss them. I'd like to thank you taking this opportunity to share my work with you and my story. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much.